Hello, and welcome to the bystander effect, where we see what's happening but don't stay silent. My name is Keith, and today I want to talk about having debates in good faith. On this channel, I expect to delve into some controversial and highly contentious issues. To do so effectively, I think it will be necessary to follow some guidelines. In fact, the things I lay out in this episode are so important that I think they should be considered necessary anytime one engages in intellectual inquiry. That's why I've pegged them as the bystander effect's 8 principles of debate. Let me know what you think of this list in the comments section below. Let's get started. Number 1, thinking well is a skill. And like all skills, you can be good or bad at it. To be good at it, there's no substitute for proper training and practice. This does not mean gaining more knowledge. Having a lot of knowledge does not mean you can think well. The world is full of very knowledgeable people who think poorly. I'm reminded of the phrase, knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting one in a fruit salad. Thinking well is a skill, and you can be good or bad at it. So, how do you get better at it? Through careful study of the humanities. Things like philosophy, history, language arts, these are necessary for everyone, even though today they're often dismissed as mere leisure activities. In truth, these disciplines teach one how to think, not what to think. And philosophy in particular is more interested in asking the right questions rather than getting the right answers, because that's really the first step in thinking well. Number 2, it's okay to be wrong. This is one of the best things the humanities teach. It's okay to be wrong. In these episodes, I expect to say some inaccurate things or things that some people may vehemently disagree with, and that's okay. I'm not afraid to be wrong, so please correct me. Almost everything I think today that is somewhat accurate, I was at one time pretty wrong about, probably. Being wrong is acceptable for everyone, and it doesn't deserve scorn or ridicule. Okay, next one up. Number 3, you're wrong is not an insult. Since being okay is wrong, it naturally follows that telling someone they're wrong is not an insult, nor is it offensive. When you have convictions, you should share them and be able to hear them from others. If you are incapable of hearing "you're wrong" without feeling slighted, you cannot engage in intellectual debate. The proper response to "you're wrong" is excitement. How? Please explain. Of course, emotional reactions can be valid, especially when debating matters of serious consequence. However, in intellectual things, the passions almost always cloud our judgments, not help them. So, now, even though "you're wrong" is not an insult, number 4, tone and respect matter. There is no weakness in kindness, and ideas aren't stronger or more convincing when said with fury. Now, I admit number 4 is tactical. I don't advocate for respect because everyone deserves it. Indeed, many don't. But an all too familiar defense people have against an idea they don't like is to attack the messaging, not the message. This defense is popular precisely because it's effective, or at least distracting. Therefore, why open yourself up to it? There are always a variety of ways to make a point. In my experience, counter-arguments made with magnanimity and courtesy provoke much more conflict in someone you disagree with than insults and slights. As a bonus, nothing pisses off an opponent more than respect and self-control. All right, let's keep going. Number 5, not knowing is okay. Now that right and wrong and the tones used to express them have been covered, it's necessary to admit that indecision is okay. Sometimes we just don't know what is correct. Admit this loudly, with pride. You're not required to have a position on everything, and for most difficult questions, absolute certainty is rare. Besides, without some appropriate indecision, life would be bland and boring. We are not worker bees. Admitting you lack certitude does not make you less principled. It just makes you less dogmatic and inflexible. Number 6, your ideas should be clear. A sort of inverse of not knowing is okay is that you must understand your own views. This does not go without saying. What do I mean? Complex explanations full of references and impressive vocabulary are not necessarily better, even when given by so-called experts. Even if someone has impressive qualifications, or they can cite innumerable sources or authors about a topic, I don't care. Part of true understanding is the ability to regurgitate ideas in various ways so that they are intelligible. Clear does not mean simple. Complex does not mean accurate. Sure, some topics are particularly dense and require some form of agreed upon background knowledge or specialization. I admit that. However, I contend that the great majority of arguments can be communicated in a way that almost any adult can comprehend. So, understand your own views and share them clearly. And now we come to my favorite principle of debate, Steelman all arguments. Not only must you understand your own views, but you must understand another's views as well. This is surprisingly rare. In fact, I would argue that in modern popular discourse, most people cannot accurately restate the positions of people they disagree with, let alone portray those positions in their most favorable light. Doing so is known as the Steelman technique, and it's incredibly valuable. When you go beyond merely understanding your opponent's views and actually make an effort to recreate them in their best forms, your own rebuttals will become that much stronger because they will have combated with the best versions of their challenges. Of course, some arguments are made in bad faith, and it's okay to point this out. But doing so rarely absolves one from the need to steelman an argument. Okay, last but not least, number 8, define your terms. One of the best methods for accurately understanding both your own arguments and those you disagree with is to spend the time to define your terms. I would argue that a great number of the disagreements people have with each other boils down to inaccurate or unclear use of language. And the problem isn't merely semantic. Vocabulary can be weaponized. Liberty, oppression, socialism, capitalism, democracy, tyranny, equality, injustice, all of these terms have been kind of applied inconsistently throughout history in order to advance a variety of agendas. The affairs of humans are messy and complicated, and this fact makes it all too easy to hide behind general, vague vocabulary that muddy, not clarify a position. Therefore, spend the time to accurately define your terms and require such definitions from others. So, that's it. That's the Bystander Effect's 8 principles of debate. What do you think of this list? Are there any you disagree with? Is there anything crucial that I've left out? Please tell me in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video. I'd really, really appreciate. Until next time, I'll see you then. Ding.